Disclaimer. This is how I personally do day of session preparation for my D&D campaigns. This is not a tutorial or opinion piece. It is a pseudo live commentary helping myself get ready for the session with a bit of fun. Alrighty. Welcome back to Roll20. So I'm actually not going to be talking about any of my homebrews today because I'm getting more into the 2024 rule set. So far as I've seen, I enjoy it more than the 2014 rule set. There have been some neat improvements, and I need to adapt my homebrews to 2024 now. Boop. But I will get to that sort of later on. It's actually 5.5 hours ish from my actual DMing session today. So I'm going to do a pseudo live commentary of Day of Prep. So, per usual, let's throw on some music. Let's open a notepad because that's important. Alright. So, first things first, if you're going to do day of preparation, well, for one, you want some water nearby, or some snacks and stuff. But you really need to ask yourself, do I need to prepare on day of? Or can I prepare week of? And the answer to that question is really dependent on whether or not you have prepared. If you're DMing a session, you always need to do some form of preparation. But it's dependent on your last session. Last session we ended pretty briskly, kind of suddenly. One of our players had a time constraint. It happens all the time. So we ended in not the middle of a combat encounter. I don't like doing that. So, and thankfully they were okay with continuing until the combat encounter ended. But we ended the combat encounter, and everyone broke away. So I know exactly where we're starting, and I know a few key details. For one, I know it's been 2 combat encounters back to back, and they're starting on a short rest. Now, I know they're starting on a short rest because when I left, they hadn't taken a short rest, so they either have taken the short rest and done their things in the background, which I will ask when session starts, or they haven't and will open with literally that. I just realized that I hadn't actually answered or finished my previous line of thought. Preparation. If you've done a week of prep, you don't need to do day of prep. You should probably just cram a little and then go into session. If you haven't done week of prep, you should do day of prep and cram a fair amount and then sort of just roll through. But before we go along, one thing I like to do is, well, I already did it, but I cleared the chat for a session. If you want to save your chat archive, you can. I did. It's not really necessary. Usually if you're playing on Roll20, the old session is basically moot. Kind of doesn't exist in terms of chat. You won't really need, especially if you play weekly, your old chat rolls to look back on something. Because if it's anything you missed that's important, it's better to just not think about. But moving forward. So, get my notepad out here. I know that they're starting or going to start with a short rest. And I know a few things for helping with how this session should be technically organized. Currently, they're in a 2-story mansion. Oh, I didn't know Notepad autocorrects now. That's cool. And I also know that in their previous lore combat encounter, they didn't have time to get any rewards. It was sort of a situation where got put into a very interesting combat encounter, but ultimately the end of the combat encounter didn't end with them finding any loot. It ended with them finding an NPC and rescuing that NPC and then being ambushed. So from that ambush in the ice shelf to the city, into a new city, into this mansion combat encounter, they haven't gotten any rewards. But we are in a mansion, so what I know is exploration. Exploring this mansion can pay off real big time. So any loot or gold distribution that I've missed on the previous sessions can probably be solved right here and right now. So I can build myself a flow. 1, they need to short rest. 2, given what I know of my characters, I need to do a few things. So in their combat encounter, they took out a few bandits and an assassin. However, in this first floor section of the combat encounter, there are 2 technically fully conscious, I guess I can't say fully conscious, 1 fully conscious character who's currently in recovery, essentially, and 1, I wouldn't say conscious character, but alive character. So that would be this astral body mage and this astral body mage. One important thing to note, good thing that 1 is at full HP and 1 is at low HP. 1 is, in my lore, so to say, wearing a gold crown. I opened Spotify. I was looking for my notepad. So the 9 HP one is a gold crown, and the 40 HP one is a black crown. So this one, for general explanation, mind controlled. This one was not mind controlled. This is important just given the moralities of my characters concurrently. So what I will have to do is, well, I guess I shouldn't do that. The next thing in my flow of preparation, I need to give appearances to both. After that, my characters will probably, well, my players will probably be more inclined to search around the mansion. This is probably going to take the bulk of the session, given that they've been combat encounter, lore, combat encounter. Now would be the time for exploration and rewards. This is where one would really decide, do I want to put in a puzzle, or do I want to put in just sort of challenges? So let's denote it that I want them to explore the mansion, find loot, and gold. Oh well, hang on. Kind of a weird niche of the flow. These are important notes for what's going on. these are things that I need to do, so let me denote this properly. So, they're going to do a short rest. I know where my NPCs that I need to give appearances to are, so I need to, 1, determine your appearances for both of them. Then, what I need to do from there is actually create rewards. So the reasoning for this is that you want to know what you're going to give your players beforehand, before you determine how you're going to get that to your players, just so you know what they need effectively in the moment, because they might always need that. And you don't really have to think of future loot if you know what they need and apply it to a loot table, so to say, later. So, I need to take a look at my characters and determine that. So they didn't level up from this encounter, as I recall. I don't believe so. But what I know that they will need is one character will need some armor, one character might need some gold, just a few things here and there, very niche-ness stuff. I do have one new player in the situation who kind of has everything they need, so I can kind of comfortably decide maybe I can just get off with... Get off. That's an awkward thing to say in this context. But I could probably just let them off by sliding some gold towards their way, or, given what I know of this player, probably just let them do a few interactions with some NPCs and some PC interactions, but I won't really need to give them rewards, so to say, because they just slide it in and they kind of have all the gear they need to succeed. But I will have to give it to my other 3 players. I'm going to take a drink of water. Now, from what I know of my characters, I know the cleric probably needs a bit more armor. I know this given that in the encounters before they got to this mansion, if he is surrounded, he is in a very bad situation. His AC is pretty low for a cleric. As I recall, he doesn't have any armor yet. So probably I will need to put some armor somewhere around the mansion, which is pretty easy to do. So I'll think of something maybe along medium armor. I don't think he wants heavy armor. Bam. Bam. I know I have a rogue here with psychic daggers, so loot for them is a little bit difficult to decide. They always have weapons, and I've given them a little bit of an attack buff by making a custom obsidian dagger for them, so loot for them is a little bit difficult. But given that they are both played by the same character, both played by the same player, I don't think it's too much of a problem to bump one of them up and not bump up the other at the time, because one is significantly stronger than the other, so trying to bring their own characters into balance with power, essentially. So, I need to determine I need to make a medium armor that's appropriate for the cleric and put it somewhere, something sort of special. Here, if you're indecisive, is where rolling comes huge. So I'm not too decisive on whether I want to give them pretty basic armor or pretty good armor. So what I'm going to go to do is I'm going to go to my testing page, right? that d4 was a test roll from earlier, but what I'm going to do is do a d20 roll. It's a 16, so what I'm going to say is his armor will be fairly good for the session. I'm going to go and look at equipment. Here. Come on. Let's go look at medium armor. Now, this is the 2024 book, but one thing I might do for him is chain shirt. 13 dex modifier, max 2, 50 GP. Not really a wonderful reward currently, but you can always do some special stuff. So let's paste the chain shirt and do some stats right here real quick. All right. And I'm going to give it a quick old bonus effect. So he's a cleric. I have not played cleric too much, but maybe I want to encourage him to use his channel divinity a little bit more. I'm going to give it 1 charge. Make it recover at dawn. And when channel divinity is used, grant yourself advantage on your next attack, saving throw. Bam. So, I've determined what I'm going to do for him. Moving on to my next character that I think needs maybe a little bit of a bump. We have a Fighter Eldritch Knight. What I think I'm going to do for him, he currently has some special frost swords that do cold damage. That is going to sort of be his pseudo main weapon for a little while, but he is an Eldritch Knight, so one thing I might do is add to his swords, or give him an item to recover spell slots in short rests. Pretty simple. I think for the purposes of things right now, I am going to add it to his swords. And basically what I'm going to do is make it so that he can recover dependent on the damage he's dealt, maybe on the creature slain, spell slots during a short rest. So it will be, let's say, 2 charges. Recover a charge when, let's say, slain. I'm getting confused with my own spelling. Recover charge when slaying a creature. During short rest, you may expend the charges to recover spell slots equal to the charges used. And then I'll just do my example. If 2 charges are used, 2 first level spell slots can be recovered. Or 1 second level slot. Cool. So, 2 of my players, I have now determined and created good items for them. Right? So I don't really need to worry about those things. I think those are very fair items, right? What I'm gonna do real quick here is I'm gonna call this a sword upgrade. Huh. Should have thought about this before I did this. Yeah. Very weird. Give me 1 second. Bam, bam. There we go. Alright. Now, one thing I want to do for the last player character reward is they are an artificer. They also have a wizard bladesinger, but I think currently in terms of gear, the bladesinger is pretty good off. I already kind of know what I'm going to give the bladesinger later on, so I don't really need to think about it right now. Artificer is spelled with a T. Haha. So Artificer, I'm going to give her a focus upgrade. So, a little toughy. I'm debating on what special effects I want to do, but given that Artificer is a half caster and they are going pure Artificer, I am thinking something to recover spell slots as well. Probably not sort of like the fighter Eldritch Knight item that I made right above. I'm thinking of either maybe a +2 weapon that recovers, I'll say up to a 2nd level spell slot as well currently. So +2 focus. It covers a 2nd level during short rests. Savvy, cool. That is a lot of my preparation for this session. I have made rewards for the 3 characters I think needed the most currently, given loot distribution and the likes, and what I can go back and say is everyone else finds gold. So that would be 3 PCs that would need gold. So I'm actually just going to be 100. 33 is a little bit on the lower side, so I'm gonna do another one. Definitely don't want to give one of them 3 gold. That would probably be very awkward, so... Alright, that seems pretty good of a split-ish. So... what I'm going to do real quick here on a side pad, I am going to write One of these characters' names begins with an M, one begins with a F, and one begins with a C. I'm going to do 1C, 2F, 3M. Okay. 2. They will get the first roll of gold, which was 33. 4. Kind of working in reverse order here, so I'm going to re-roll a 4 instead of re-rolling the 1. 3. Alright. 3. They are going to get the second roll of gold, which was 53. Alright. Now, by default, 1C will get the last roll of gold, which is 58. Yep. Alright. What I can do is C, 58 gold, M, 53 gold, F, 33 gold. Alright, so rewards have been created, which is most of the general importance of this session. I imagine that's what's going to be sort of just going wrong. Going wrong? Why did I say wrong? I wanted to say going around as they explore up and down. Some stuff I might need to prepare on the spot for, say if another character finds something of interest, so I'm going to tab in a few other technical rewards that I'm just going to think of on the spot. I'm going to think of a sword, a short sword, and it's going to be +1 adds 1d6 fire on hit. I'm going to think of a bonded weapon scroll, and what I will decide is that when used, a weapon gains the returning feature. So I will also specify that's when thrown. Let's see. I also want herbs around the place. Food. I'll just say misc. And I will also want gold, bonded weapon scroll, short sword adding damage. I think that's good in terms of like miscellaneous loot. Oh yes, and given that this is a mansion, I will say various fine clothes. And given that it's a mansion, I'm just gonna say they find sussy clothes if they look for it. Those darn nobles into those weird things. So, that is rewards done. Going back to what I probably should have thought of first, because it might have been a little bit quicker. I have to make appearances for both these characters. One is a lot easier than the other because they're effectively going to remain generally specific. they're gonna have gold motifs and the like, so that's the 9 HP one. It's gonna have gold motifs and the like. So let's do some kind of brisk Spitfire notes. So the 9 HP mage, I need a name for them. By the powers vested in me, I'm gonna bam go over here, create a new character. Origins, class, background, species. Starting equipment, wisdoms, languages, related content. Huh? Where's my... Oh, there it is. ASMR Dragonborn, Dwarf, Elf, Gnome, Goliath, Halfling, Human, Orc, Tiefling. 9 HP. The 9 HP one is going to be a Tiefling. And I know the image doesn't really reflect, but it will make sort of sense later on. I'm gonna say that one is going to turn into a more Tiefling thematic one. Let's say that they have black hair. They'll have gold eyes. They will be wearing a gold dress. Well, not gold as in gold plated or anything of like, just the color gold. Weirdness to specify, but it is important when you prepare for D&D session, because if you say a gold dress, you know, sometimes you might actually want a character dressed in a dress made of gold threads, making it very expensive. But let's give them black hair, gold eyes, gold dress. Given the lore of these characters, this one in particular is going to be, let's say, I'm doing some weirdness in my head. They're going to have let's say they're going to be about 5 foot in height. And they're also going to have sort of like golden wings, like fairy wings, golden fairy wings. Okay, that's that character dealt with. The other one, oh, I know that they're going to be between 3 or so, 3 and 4 feet, so I'm going to say that they're about 3'5". Alright. These characters have been altered, so that's the important thing to note with their weird heights. One is not mind controlled and wasn't indoctrinated willingly. The other was and kind of got their traits a bit more muddled. Let's do some thinkings. I am going to make this one. Boop, boop, doot, doot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. 2. Dragonborn. Okay, so they're going to be Dragonborn. Yep. Dragonborn. Yes, tiny Dragonborn. So their features are going to shift to be more Dragonborn-like. Let's give them white hair, because I can. Yes, I can give a Dragonborn hair. It's my campaign. I can do whatever I want. I realize that sounds very snarky, but people get a little bit iffy on what you can do with races sometimes, so... Or species, I guess. What's an interesting hair? Well, I said I'm giving them white hair. Interesting eye color. I'm going to default, or try not to default, and give them like purple or some shade of purple or magenta eyes. Trying to be unique with myself, I'm going to give them... What's a color I don't use very often? I'm gonna give them green eyes. I don't think I use green very often. No wings. They don't have those anymore. I also need some interesting things for this. I'm going to make them a detective from the previous city my players were in. Gotta implement lore here and there. Bam. I realize that I'm actually typing this. I'm not typing this out, so it looks very strange. I'm actually writing it down because for some reason I didn't type it out. And you know what? Yeah, we'll make sure to throw a few of these in there. Yeah. It wouldn't be a exploratory situation of the mansion if there were not mimics. But I'm also someone who doesn't like excessively throwing mimics, so let's roll a d4. We'll put 2 mimics down throughout the house. So 2 mimics in the mansion. Oh my god, I can't spell. That will also give some niche combat encounters, just to make sure that things don't get too dull without, you know, no combat. So, I've planned for most of the general session. It's been about 40 almost minutes or so. That's a lot of planning and item creation and actual appearances written down and done. Actually, let me put it here. 9 HP mage. Black hair. Gold eyes. They are currently wearing a gold dress. They are 5 foot. And they have golden wings. And they are a tiefling. Tieflong. They are tieflong. The 40 HP mage will have white hair, green eyes. They have no wings. Dragonborn. And they are a detective from the previous city. Wait, actually, another thing that's important to note out, as I specified, they will be, or well, what I specified for the tiefling, they were in a gold dress. This one will be in a black dress. So that would be this one. That will be the Dragonborn. This will be the Tiefling. The Mimic. Where do I want to put the Mimic? Somewhere inconspicuous. I'm going to make that piano the Mimic. So I'm going to go to GM layer actually. And drag the Mimic on here. Okay. Mimic number 1 will be the piano. The next Mimic, I don't have the upstairs programmed on a map yet, but I'm also determining where I want to put the next map. Should I put it upstairs, or put it on another sheet, or should I extend my sheet down and just do a mirror image to denote the upstairs portion? I'll think about that a little bit later. But that gives me a lot of session planning done. So, that is one of the nice things about not having to do a big lore preparation session. So I know my characters aren't going to be necessarily encountering any big bosses or the like. They'll just be doing searching around the manor. I mean, technically it's a manor. Mansion. I probably should look up the difference. But I know what my players are going to be doing roundabout, or what I'm going to be trying to push them to do and find. I have additional loot that I've decided is in the mansion that's worth their time. I've determined a good amount of gold for the players that don't get loot to get. Oh well, I didn't determine it, I rolled it. And I've put in some niche combat encounters here and there. Now, one thing that's also important is maybe to determine what I might want them to do if I want to do a full-blown encounter, sort of 3 to 4 enemies-ish, maybe. Like, say, 3 characters are caught in a room by themselves. That's something to think about. One thing I will do is I've put my mimics down, and a 4th thing I will do is I will add a puzzle, so to say. I can't believe myself. I was really about to spell puzzle. There's something wrong with me. But I also have to determine what that puzzle will be. And I'm going to make it a word puzzle. I will make the determination to make it a lore puzzle, so to say. They'll probably guess this one fairly easily, but just in case they don't, we're gonna make the word celestial. And what we'll do is, I'm gonna look in this room. I'm gonna say this motif on the floor. I will probably look for a picture for it, but I'm gonna say the motif on the floor over here is actually gonna be a constellation. What I will do is have 3 arrows on... I've thought about it. I got it. They might not get this, but I might not get it either. I'm going to denote this with the measurement. I'm going to have maybe 4 of these point in various directions at objects in the room. And I might have them point at different spots, and hopefully they can like put together a picture and draw a constellation for a divine being. So you know what, I'm gonna go on the map layer and get out a freehand pen. I'm gonna use blue for this. Actually, I should do it on the GM layer. God, my drawing skills are kind of bad though. I'm gonna put a blue dot over here. Hang on. I can make ellipses. I want it to be filled though. Oh, let's put this like murky inky blue. Let's put one there. One there. Let's put one up here. Let's put one up here. Actually, no. Let's not do that. Let's put one over here. Let's put one over here. And one over here. Alright, and let's get ourselves a line, pen line. Just see how these connect. Boop, 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 oops, boop, boop, boop. Nice. Alright, that's pretty good. What shall I call this though? Let's call this constellation the Spear. Okay, so we have 5 dots. And we'll call the constellation the Spear. And it's going to be related to not the god of war. I'm going to say it's related to the god of celestials, or celestial bodies. My determination, what I will make here is this god most commonly is seen with a spear guiding the stars above with it. Bam! I think that's enough for a full session of D&D. Now, I will have to split some stuff between the first and second floor of the mansion, so I don't think... Oh, I did spell it wrong. Let's do some quicko stuffies. Second floor. Mimic. I'm going to try to force a 1v1 against the Mimic for at least 3 rounds for that one. This one will be a crafting word puzzle. I need to try to get them to say the word hammer. Try to say the word hammer. And the rest will be... Actually, this one will be... I don't think... This will be the constellation puzzle. Which will be this. Alright. That is a good amount of one-day prep, actually. I'm quite proud of myself for that. I have made the appearances for 2 characters, made a bunch of rewards, determined how they're going to get some of those rewards, made a puzzle, put some extra encounters in the mansion, and if another encounter is needed to break up pacing, I'm just gonna say, if needed, 5 bandit encounter. And then I'll also add a note, 6 weekly prep needed for next session. Create NPC enemies. And do some lore things. Bam. Now, one of the neat things is, if my players actually do see this in the middle of us playing, that'll be hilarious to me, alright? Because I don't know when they're actually going to get to doing the constellation puzzle, so, you know, if that happens, they might actually see this, see all of the stuff I've done, but I don't mind that, because I think that's still funny. But, yeah. Same day prep can be as simple as an hour, as long as you kind of know what you're doing and you're in the mood to play. You just sort of go with the flow, figure stuff out. The very important questions to ask yourself are, where did you end, and where did you end the last session, and where do you want to end this session? And, you know, they might not even end leaving this mansion. They might be going around. It might take them an hour per item find, right? It's just one of those things. Actually, one of the things I need to do... I need to check out my maps. I don't think I added it. Semi-lunar maps. Darn, I didn't. I did. Okay. Last thing I need to do on the map layer is get this second floor in here. Oh, I have the wrong thing out. So what I'm going to do is, this will come to as a little bit of a confusion to my players. So I'm going to add a page, actually. Go to this new page. And this new page will be the first floor of the mansion. I'm going to adjust the page size for it. Oh, I say first floor. Wait a second. No, that makes sense. I just noticed this bed here. I was just thinking for a moment that I put them into the mansion on the wrong floor, but that's not the case. Good. Good. Good, good, good. Good. I need to make a character sheet for the character gold. I can actually add that to my notes now. Important character sheets. Oh well. Important NPC sheets to make. Gold, red. Yes, these are characters. And magenta. Let's see. Yeah. If you have the time, I will say, planning a day of DnD, planning your session out is really as simple as that, so to say. It's an hour. Sometimes people don't take that time, don't have that time to prepare, but I think it's a very good thing. It'll help a lot to do a quick cram hour and prepare just to get through things. Now, that will be it for my pseudo live session, actually. I am all good. I have, let's see. Yeah, I have about 4.5 hours till session. I can inform my players of what time I'm looking to play today. Well, okay. That's a little bit, so that sounds a little ego, but what time we should play today, I should rather say. So last time we started at a little bit of a weird schedule for us. We did a shorter session. However, we did introduce a new player, which was very interesting. We got a lot of things done. But now, since we're not playing on the same day, and hopefully the new player can play a little bit longer, I'm gonna try to shift it up a little and extend. So, yeah, if it doesn't extend too long, hopefully the preparation I've done right now will be perfectly fine going forward. If not, it'll be very awkward. Anywho's, I will catch you later. Ciao.